Hello, everyone. Tatiana Kolovou. I have taken off my superhero outfit that my friend Dave so kindly created for me. Today, we're talking about AI tools for super communicators. The newsletter Stronger that I publish, and this live is for, was published on the same topic about a year and a half ago, and it was so super popular. And the live that we did with Dave Birss. So I decided to bring my friend back. But before we get started, I wanted to share some of the tools that are available in artificial intelligence for all of us to research, to meet about, to analyze an audience and prepare a presentation have been leveled up in the past year. So as your communication expert, I thought I would bring you latest and most prominent prompts that you could use. And the person that I wanted to invite was the one and only Dave Birss from across the pond from where I am in Bloomington, Indiana, so that he could bring us up to date and definitely do some work as we get going. So as we get started today, and before bringing Dave on our screen, I would like for you to let us know where you're coming in from and to interrupt us at any time and ask your specific question. One more thing we're going to do for you today in time for the holidays in the spirit of giving is collect all of the prompts that we use and then send them off to you in a PDF. And also, as we discuss stronger, you being stronger communicators, you being stronger in your everyday work life, we want you to put a hashtag stronger into the chat so that we can be able to do a drawing for one of these tumblers. So welcome, Jeffrey. Nice to see you from California. And great, let's get started. Let's bring Dave on our screen. Dave is busy working. Rare he is. He's already writing more AI courses. He has 7 on the LinkedIn platform. He's a LinkedIn instructor. He is a speaker. He travels around the world. And the latest cool thing that Dave did that hopefully he'll tell us about is be a presenter on a cruise ship, which I coincidentally ended up intercepting on the other end when he docked in Florida. I happened to be in Miami, and we ended up spending a half day together with some Cuban music and some good food, and the power of LinkedIn of being able to connect with people. It was fantastic. So welcome to you all. I see Las Vegas, Nevada. I see Portugal. Anna, welcome. Also across the pond from me. Dave, welcome. So wonderful to see you.
Yes, just a couple of weeks after we were hanging out together in Miami. That was such a peculiar adventure where it was just the night before I docked in Fort Lauderdale, where we had been messaging each other, and then realized we'd both be in Miami at the same time.
Yes.
And I had like 5 hours where, before my flight, when I got there. Oh, that was wonderful, because we've known each other for a couple of years, but not actually met until 2 weeks ago.
This is the typical LinkedIn connection. We feel like we know each other. We've done a live together. We've gone back and forth talking and idea generating and ideating together. And then all of a sudden we meet in person. So it was such a gift, and it was a great bookend to the year for me. And I'm also very excited for what we will be doing today. For all of you that are joining us from Nigeria and Romania, such an international crew always here. Dave, tell us a little bit about your Scottish, British, US, you just global belonging.
Well, this morning I woke up in Inverness in the very north of Scotland, where it was very cold. And I went to the airport and flew back down to London, where I live. And my wife is a New Yorker, and her family are Haitian. So our children are Haitian American Scottish Londoners. So, they're very culturally rich.
Very global. Wonderful. I love it. And we have a very global audience. Felipe Kalispera. We have lots of, usually all of my Greek friends join us as well and write to us in Greek, which I'm going to talk soon. I want to record a little something on Ideas 25 on how AI can help us speak in our native language and communicate without lots of faux pas and cultural communication glitches. But we invited Dave here today because as communicators, as speakers, as deliverers of messages, we always need to be prepared, and AI can help us do some of the front end research as we look to analyze an audience and think of ideas of how we want to make our pitches and make our proposals stronger. Now, you will not get any of the superheroes of us. You may have seen how we promoted this, and Dave made this fun cartoonish character. That's not where the future is. The future is with all of us becoming better communicators by having better content and having AI as our assistant coach, kind of helping us play all the best plays in the game and show up on race day or game day, as we say, in order to be able to be effective. So I see a Montrealian, RRA. Thank you so much. Make sure #stronger so we can get one of these with to you with Santa. We would love to do that. So what Dave is going to do is screen share and share with us. We messaged earlier today, and we've been cooking on this a little bit and thinking about what's the first step, Dave, that you do when you want to present an idea. Say you're selling yourself as, not selling yourself, but you're pitching yourself as a speaker on the AI topics, just like you did when you were on the cruise. What's the first step that you would take?
Well, the first step is I use actual intelligence.
Great.
So,
Sure.
I mean, Tatiana, how do you feel about the fact that there was a study that came out about a month ago that shows that more than 50% of LinkedIn posts are written by AI? How do you feel about that?
First of all, I can tell when posts are written on AI, right? I've recently been engaged in a Q&A where I could tell the questions were AI questions. I couldn't make sense of them. So how do I feel about that? I feel a little disconnected, I would say. And I would think it would be disingenuous unless the AI really captures the voice of the speaker. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Dave?
Well, as somebody who is, I guess for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years, I've been teaching people how to use AI to get the most value. I'm really disappointed that we can tell that more than 50% of stuff has been generated by AI. Because the one thing I keep telling people is whatever output you get from AI, you then need to run through a human processor until it's something that you would be proud of to have written yourself. And that's clearly not happening. And that worries me and it disappoints me. And it concerns me for the future, that if we don't use it, we lose it. And if people are just going to be outsourcing stuff like this to AI, we're going to end up with the dumbest generation in business that there's ever been. And that concerns me as somebody who teaches AI.
Yeah, AI is talking to themselves. Yesterday, you helped me help my MBA negotiation students do a car sale, a car purchase through AI. And I hope that if we have time, we can share some of these details with you because it's a great training tool. But some of them in the back of the room were laughing because they had 2 AI tools negotiating with one another. And they were trying to be super witty about it. But it was very obvious that there was not a human in there intervening to manipulate some of that or create some situations that would have been more realistic. So they clearly would say that they could tell that what was not, that it was artificial pretty much. So back to what you say, I don't think that the posts that come from you are generated from AI, but they may be ideated at AI. I know for me they are.
Yeah, I mean, I get AI to help me with that, and that's what we'll look at today is augmenting what we've got. I am such a fan of the brain that I've always got a spare one.
Love you.
And,
love it.
This is what it's all about, and we have to keep using our own brains. If we are just outsourcing all of the tasks to AI without engaging our brains, we're going to fail to build up the neural pathways that are necessary to learn tasks. And that is so what I'm all about is about making sure that we take this thing and we add this third hemisphere of AI that helps us collectively to be
Absolutely.
more powerful and to
Right.
achieve more than either could do alone. So
Yeah. Shelby says how a casual brain decoration, sort of a show and tell of the brain. You know,
I've got another one here as well. So
man, of course you do. It would be as if I go to the gym and I watch someone else training and assume that I will gain the physical benefits of this. This is kind of how I
yeah,
see it. That
yeah,
I outsource the learning or the growing intellectually, and then at the end of the day I will atrophy, or our brains will as well. So
indeed.
let's talk about AI, and I hear you a lot say that it can bring us to a level that is what you call it, mediocre, or what is the
Adequacy. Yeah, yeah. AI gives us adequacy. Yes.
adequacy, right? So
Yeah,
if adequacy is where we want to be, that's okay. But if we want to rise above that to excellence, we need to
yeah.
use it as our assistant coach. So say that you were doing your research for your cruise ship presentations, or you were pitching into a firm to hire you as their trainer to educate their staff. Where would you go first? How would you start first?
So one of the things that I like to do is when I'm doing public speaking, and public speaking it's more than 50% of what I do, public speaking. So I travel the world and I do my talks, virtual talks from here as well. And one of the things that's really important to me when I'm doing public speaking is understanding my audience. And that's
Yep.
not just about understanding the people that will be in the room, it's about understanding their understanding. So it's about understanding. To me, I talk about things as state A and state B. So state A is what do people currently think, feel, or do? And state B is what I want people to think, feel, or do. And my job with my presentation is to get people from state A to state B. So my job is to transform people in some way. So let's bring up a prompt that we could use to help with this approach.
All right. So what is the scenario where are you helping us get to here?
So let's imagine here that we are, I will paste in a prompt here and you'll see it's quite a chunky prompt.
Okay.
And what I've got here is I'm imagining that I am presenting a sales presentation here.
Okay.
And that the sales presentation is to the C-suite of a large law firm.
Okay,
And
great.
I'm imagining that it's me in what I actually do, trying to sell my services, I guess. So
Great.
I say here, here's the topic. I have a company that provides generative AI training. I want them to invest in an education program for their employees that will help the organization get more value out of AI tools.
Great.
And all of these bullet points that I've got here are basically, this is a list of things that I am asking the AI to deliver based on the information I've given it. And to be honest, if I want even better results from this, I put in even more detail about the audience and the topic. But
can I pause
here
you?
we go. Let's
Dave, can I pause you for a minute? So this is for all of our learners here today. What Dave is doing first is, I would say, priming the pump. He doesn't just go and say, tell me about this topic, or I'm doing a presentation. And if you look closely, if we can show his screen again, he's asking for AI first to help him set up I would say more of a checklist. What are all the things that I need to think about as I design this? What would be potential pitfalls? Where could I be successful? So it's in a way priming you mentally to be thinking of this before you turn in the prompt. And I also want to look here we will share this with you all. You have audience, so then you have your specific audience, and then you have your specific topic. So you all here today can take this and adjust it. So as you describe this, you're asking it for a table that makes the audience's attitudes and knowledge level and some of the other things that you're thinking about. If we can can I look at that chart one more time here? And the first enhance, can you make that a little bigger for us somehow? Let's see here. Or maybe Maybe, yes, that's a little better. So you want, don't give me two phrases separate by a colon. It must be a single statement, a table that maps the audience's attitudes and knowledge for different aspects of the topic. So we say here the first column should state what they're currently thinking. So we're trying to sort of analyze of what state of mind the audience, or state of knowledge, because how much an audience knows is critical. Would you actually there add, Dave, how might they react to this? Because in communication, we always say, know what the audience knows. Are they resistant to this topic? Are they ready to hear it? Are they negative about it? Let AI help us.
So let's add that in, actually. Okay. So let's put in here, what is their current attitude to this topic?
Okay, great.
And then how are they likely to respond? That's things that we can add in here as part of the list.
Or in communication, we say, does the audience have any preconceived notions? Are they ready to receive your message, or are they going to be skeptical and pepper you with questions, which we will get to in just a little bit? So if you're just joining us, we've just gotten started with using the AI. Are you using Claude or what?
I'm using Claude here. I prefer the output from Claude. ChatGPT is good, but I prefer the output from Claude.
Great.
But I know that a lot of people have to use Copilot.
Copilot, I use Copilot. It's the university preferred method that we use too. So let's go back to the prompt. You guys don't have to see me. We can go back to what Dave is cooking here, and we can even look at everything that Dave call to action that should end with, and so on. So if you are just getting ideas generated, obviously Claude is not going to do the presentation for you. Claude is going to prepare and lay it out. So let's. What's the next step, Dave?
So I mean, there's here, we're sort of asking, I think, objections. It's really good to know what their potential objections are. I always feel that when we're presenting, if we know what people's potential objections are, it's good for us to talk about these and cover them off before they come up as questions in their head. Because as soon as people have an objection or a question in their head, it blocks their ears and they stop listening. So
absolutely.
Let's make sure that we actually cover all that off before they even ask the question. I like to know what people's rational, social, and emotional motivators are. In business, most people only look at the rational motivators, but the social and the emotional motivators are actually more compelling to people.
Yep, exactly. I would say emotional more than all the three of them too. Very true.
So let's run this prompt and see what we get.
Okay. So, and by the way, if you're joining us today, we're going to share this prompt with you so you can play with it too. So I can't see a little bit to the right of it, Dave, and it's plenty. Maybe you take us through it in chunks of what it's telling us.
As you can see, there's tons here. There we go. Right. Okay. So it gives us a report, basically. So the title it's saying here, your competitors are already training their AI advantage. That's quite compelling.
Yes,
I would say we don't want to be last to this. Right. Let's look at the current state versus desired state. At this point, we're looking at different aspects. So current state, they view AI as a potential threat to billable hours. The desired state is that they see it as a tool to enhance value and productivity. Okay.
Yes.
They're concerned about AI accuracy and liability, and lawyers would be. Confident in managing AI risks while leveraging benefits. And it goes on. So let's look at their current attitude. They're likely cautiously interested but skeptical, watching competitors while harboring concerns about AI's impact on their business model. Many will have experimented but lack a systematic approach. Likely response, they'll be analytical and focused on ROI. That's quite useful to know.
For sure, for sure.
Seeking concrete examples of how AI can enhance rather than threaten their practice. They'll appreciate data-driven insights and peer comparisons. So that then lets them know.
Can I pause you? Can we, in another prompt, ask it for data or research, latest research studies that you can use as your attention getter?
So we'll come to that. We'll
Yeah.
do another prompt to do that. But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So probable objections, cost justification, absolutely. Concerns about client confidentiality, risk of staff becoming over-reliant on AI. That is actually a significant concern. And that's
Yes.
something that I mentor a few people who are like C-suite level in big companies, and I've been talking to them about this recently, that we really have to be looking at this, particularly for the people who would normally be below adequate. Because when AI suddenly makes them adequate, they've actually got to a decent level without having done the work, which means that it's very hard for them to progress. And that is going to become a rut, that people are going to become jammed at this adequate level. And we have to be looking at mentoring and training to pull people above this AI rut of adequacy.
Sure.
So, right, here's things that they'll probably need explained. Here's their rational motivations. Here's maintaining competitive advantage, improving profit margins. Here's their social. So how other people look at them, you know, their leadership position in the industry, peer recognition. But here's the emotional stuff. Fear of falling behind competitors. This becomes a very compelling argument at this point for us to do that will actually make them feel something inside. The rational stuff doesn't make them feel anything in their gut, really. It's all about the brain. We want to make them feel something inside. And that's where the emotional stuff comes in.
Very true. Yes, absolutely. And you can start with that too. Someone in the comments was mentioning storytelling, and it makes me think you can build that into your story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, we've got most compelling message here. AI trained lawyers will deliver higher value to clients while increasing profitability. Those who delay risk losing both talent and market share. Okay. So that's starting to play into, sort of behavioral economics. We've got loss aversion there, right there about, don't want to lose talent and market share. Loss aversion is probably the most compelling of the behavioral economics sort of rules of thumb that we have.
For sure.
Then we've got our call to action, experiential approaches. So if we want to give them an experience, not just talk at them, there's some ideas here. So, there's a ton here. And I would use this just to get my brain going about, right, what do I think is the best approach?
Yes.
So I'm not, the problem that most people fall into, the trap that they fall into is they go, write presentation for such and such about this. And they'll get something back, but it's mainly BS. And if they follow that, they've got something that's weak and flimsy. But that's not the way that I would do that process. I would start with research. I would start about thinking about my way in. I would start with collecting all of the information that I need and stats and studies that are going to back stuff up before I ever open PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever I'm going to use for this presentation.
Isn't that the kiss of death? I have students do that too. Let's design a presentation, and they sit with the visuals that drive their message versus designing the message and then adding the visuals. So it has to me, one has to lead. So after this step, say that you have this message, you have this request. I do this, and I'm sure you do this as well. You have sort of the discovery call where you talk a little bit about why is it that they think they need this, and what level is their understanding of their staff, or why do they feel that their competitors are getting ahead, or what keeps them up at night, pretty much. Could we use the AI tool to design some questions for that meeting? If we say, we can assume that this is the case. I don't know. I don't think you've prepared that kind of prompt.
No, but we can, because it's got an understanding of who we're talking to and what we want to talk to them about, we can follow this up and say, if I were to send this audience some pre-meeting questions to get a better understanding of their
the need assessment.
Needs and attitudes. What questions should I ask?
Perfect.
And that's probably going to be enough. And that will then give us a list now of questions here. But again, of course, this is just all of these things. The output is a foundation for us to add our own thinking to use it to develop our own judgment. We don't take any of this as there, job done.
But yeah, done. Copy paste into an email. Yeah. So I can see some of the questions. First of all, it's giving you more than you need. And for me, as if you are a trainer, or if you are providing, if you are an individual contributor, or if you're working for a company that's sharing this, you want to look at current state assessment. All right, you ask one of those 2 or 3 questions. What AI tools are necessary do you use now? So I would use my critical thinking and go through this and talk about current state, future assessment. I always like to ask with clients, if this is a wild success, what has happened? What does your everyday work look like now? To get a sense of what is their vision. Now, with AI, they may not know what they don't know. So maybe they're not talking about specific details and tools, but maybe they say it's part of our everyday work world, and it's providing good feedback or good products for our clients, or it's, as we said initially, increasing the return on investment or our deliverables.
Yeah, I mean, in when it comes to AI, in the Rumsfeld matrix, there are a lot of unknowns. You know, that's a really interesting place to be, I think. But what I loved here was it gave me questions here, but it categorized them. So the current state assessment, strategic priorities, risk and compliance, client perspective, training and implementation, investment decision, you know, and then saying, look, I recommend limiting the survey to 5 to 7 of these questions to respect
exactly what I was saying. Right. Yeah. 5 minutes.
So that's really good, I think.
And to build relationship, because it's back to this, I would even just save it for the meeting, that you can kind of get a sense, because the more, when there's back and forth, you really get more information than just what you would get in an email. It depends on the situation, but you can save those for your meeting. Okay. So you've done your little bit of your audience analysis, and now you have done a little bit of your preparation for the meeting. Let's look at this one question before we proceed. Udwak says, most job descriptions today sound so alike, using same keywords, same writing style. I wonder why. Many people don't even take out effort to paraphrase, they just copy paste directly from ChatGPT. So it's confusing, and this is just a general comment, but it's confusing for the job seekers too. They wouldn't kind of know, is there a human behind this? I know, even, I don't know, Dave, if you know this, but many of our students, their initial introduction to the company is through a video prompt that they're responding to, just a screen. There's no person on the other side. So they, as communicators, have to emote, and they have to connect with nothing. So how are they doing as they're connecting to that? It's pretty wild of how our students have to adapt.
That's not a world I like.
Wilfredo says, I think AI will take the human out of every equation in the coding and billing industry. I'm not sure about the billing industry. I can say, I don't know, Dave, what your thoughts are there. What we're talking about is using it as your assistant in preparing for being a good communicator, or delivering at least a good communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can help you think about things in different ways. That's where I think it's incredibly strong. But for some of this stuff, we have to understand that there's a difference between AI, which is a thinking machine, and automation. So some of this stuff, what's going to affect really, when we're looking there at what did we have there? There was billing industry and
yes, I'll bring it up again. Coding. He says
so
coding
billing
and billing industry. Coding for sure.
Very different, because coding is about, it helps with the thinking. So it actually helps to do a lot of the coding thinking a lot faster, and to be honest, a lot better than a lot of coders can do it. So because it's a computer speaking computerish, you know, you couldn't find anyone better. But for billing, that's different. That's about automation mainly, not necessarily about AI. There'll be some AI coming into that, but the main thing there is automation. So we don't want to conflate those two things, even although in the next year, basically they're coming together. So AI and automation are coming together over the next year, and I'm already working on projects that are about automation and AI coming together. So we're going to see a lot more of that over the next year.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back on track. You have analyzed, or you have your framework, you have the questions for your client. What will you do next?
Okay, do some research. I want to get some facts. Now, I'm going to use something different here. I'm using something called Perplexity. Perplexity is an AI search engine. So what's really great about this is you can get it to search for stuff, and then you can ask it to process it in a way that makes it even more valuable to you. So it's not just about like Google, go out there and give me a list of stuff. It basically goes into the pages and it can find the information that's relevant from those pages, process it, and bring it back to you. Most people aren't prompting this tool well enough to get the most value out of it. They're still just using it like a standard search engine. I'll show you a little bit of what we can do to get something that is a little bit more valuable. So what I'm going to do
while you're doing this, maybe Shelby, can we do Perplexity for our learners to access if we can find it? So where you are now on, is this an app?
Yes, perplexity.ai.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So perplexity.ai. So in here, I'm going to put in a prompt, and I'm formatting the prompt in a similar way where I'm using these curly brackets are variables, because you'll see down here, I am defining curly brackets audience as C-suite of a large law firm. And what the AI is doing is it's basically taking what I've got highlighted just now, and it's pasting it into the middle of the prompt up here. So where I have audience, it's basically that this is a variable, it's a placeholder, and we define this placeholder variable at the bottom, and that really gets pasted
replicated
where it originally is. So what we're doing here is I'm asking, just as an example here, 5 recent academic papers relevant to the topic.
Great.
Give me a short summary of each one. So, oh, look, I'm getting thumbs up. Does this do weird stuff when I hold 2 thumbs up? There we go. Hello.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Apple. Then we've got 5 articles, 5 recent studies from respected sources.
Yes.
Give me a list of stats and findings for each. So it's not just give me the articles, it's saying, give me more. 5 articles. Then we're sort of saying, So we're basically asking for 5 things: 5 academic papers, 5 recent studies, and 5 articles. Let's run this. I've got this on Pro here at the moment. I could focus this.
Because one of our learners said there's also a free version. I'm signing up right after our meeting. Yes.
There is a free version. The free version is great. I'm using the Pro version here. And you can use it. If I was just looking for academic papers, then I would select academic or writing or social, but I'm just going to keep it general on the web. Here we go. So let's see what it does here. You'll see that it will start doing its stuff. You can see it's processing stuff. It's doing some searches, finding some information. And then
our students don't even have to do bibliographies anymore. They're so easy.
Yeah.
We saw the commas and the dashes.
My first course, How to Research and Write, I was telling people not to use AI for citations, but it's changed in the last year. And now it's pretty good for giving you citations. So right, here we go. Recent academic papers. It's giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, exactly as we asked for.
Fantastic.
Recent studies. It's giving us 5. And again, what it's doing here is it's saying, look, here's the McKinsey Global Institute study, and it's giving us the main figures from that study, which is great. It's summarizing it for us.
Great.
Here's the IDC survey, and here's the latest figures. So it's giving us some really good recent stats
Really,
about this
really
that we
good.
can start to put into our presentations. And here's articles from reputable publications. So here's one from Microsoft's blog, State of AI from McKinsey, something else from McKinsey, University of Cambridge. Good. So it's given us exactly what we asked for.
Let me ask you, can we ask it specifically to say, how is AI used in the context of legal services, or can you say, give me some recent studies of, or you can be a little bit more, I would say, controversial and say, give me some legal studies of legal issues that have been filed because AI was used to get their attention, right? If they don't know how to use AI.
So let's ask for that. Let's say,
ask for the gossip.
Can you look for the bad use cases of from the legal profession where AI has got them into trouble?
In trouble, yes. Because I could see, if you talk about, we're either going to say the competition is using it, or you better learn how to use it because you will be in trouble, right?
Yeah. So here we go. This is an issue that we've had a few times over the last year and a half. These fabricated case citations. So lawyers actually giving these citations in court, and then
they don't exist.
The judge looks them up, and they're fabricated by AI.
Because back to our first point, no one took the time to make sure this is accurate information. There's no critical thinking happening. That's problematic.
Everything needs to be run through a human processor. It has to be done.
Bring that Rob back out. Okay, cost estimation, copyright infringement, confidentiality breaches, good stuff. So for our learners, as you're designing your topic, then you can go and say, what keeps your audience up at night? And can you do any academic research and look for the data, the statistics, the background, industry research that can help you have arguments that would ring to the ear of your audience. Now, as good speakers and presenters, we don't want to just make a list of all these. You have to decide, what are the top three? What is the 3 reasons why they should be doing this too? Philip was saying before they submit, they have to confirm. You can rely, you cannot, you cannot, yes, rely only on AI. Exactly what you're saying. You have to use your critical thinking, because, by the way, this is not a report in this case. You have to verbally communicate this. So Dave, we've done our research. Then where do we go?
Right. I'm just doing another thing here where I'm saying, can you look for the positive and negative attitudes to AI, which is one thing that you were saying there. From the legal industry, present your findings in a table with a positive and negative column.
Right. Ooh, so, nice. Look at that.
So at the moment, it's bringing in, it's showing some of the stuff that is found in its search here.
And it's making you slides?
It's bringing in images that it's found.
Oh, from the research papers. Okay.
Yeah. But here it's giving us a list of positive attitudes from the legal profession and negative attitudes.
Negative attitudes. Great.
And each of these little numbers there, when you roll over them, it gives you a little summary, and it can take you to where it originally found that. So you click on that and it takes you to the article.
Specific. So when you speak the article, you can say, where was it published and when was it published? You want to be credible with this as well. What I like to do, usually I'll screenshot that article and put it in my slides, so that when I'm speaking about it, it makes for a current visual, but it also is a little bit of a cheat for me to look over and remember what the name of the article was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can I get a question here from a learner as we get ready to show the next piece? He's saying, why don't we automate the self-authentication for citation use cases?
What? Automate the self-authentication? What do we mean by that?
I'm not sure. I thought we were talking about I was talking about my students citing in articles using MLA or APA citations. Those were easy to get through AI. So maybe our learner can help us clarify that a little bit, and we'll bring it back. So the next step would be, would you think you now design an outline of how your presentation would be?
You can do, absolutely. So we could do here, we could get it to give us.
And I would say a one-page outline. Vishwanath, clarify your question for us and we'll bring it back. So ask it to take this content for this audience and give us the outline.
Well, I mean, that would be, I wouldn't use Perplexity for that necessarily.
Oh, no. I'm saying go back to Claude for this.
If you go back to Claude and say, right, based on this.
Wait, does Claude speak with Perplexity or no?
No.
Okay,
no.
so you have to decide.
All these tools are operating separately.
Got you. Okay, so you would have to decide, here's the recipe pieces that I'm using, so I'm going to enter them. So that's not going to be able for us to do live. We just wanted to show you that.
But what we could do is I mean, I could easily just copy and paste this into a prompt. It might look messy in the prompt, but the AI will still understand it.
Okay.
So I could, here we go. So I will take a copy of that there, which was about the bad use cases, and we'll copy that. So we'll go in here and we'll say
into the prompt for our outline.
Okay.
If you are listening, by the way, Dave is doing this live. This is happening as we speak. This is not pre-recorded. #stronger, so we can do a drawing for one of these tumblers for you. I'm the commercial break. And the outline is, and by the way, you haven't even started preparing your speaking. Earlier in the year, if you follow Stronger, we're bringing in the co-creator of Udily.ai, which is a actual speaking app. We've had him on the program before, but Varun is going to come and tell us what the latest different tips, tricks are of that app. And they have come up with a gazillion, as you know, Dave. So you asked it for an outline. Did it give us something as?
So what I'm doing here is I'm saying based on these, and then I'm putting in a variable, use cases, bad use cases, and the conversation we've had so far, please give me some ideas for a presentation. I'm going to expand on that in a second, but you can see here that I've then said underneath this, curly brackets, use cases, and then I've pasted in the information that we got from Perplexity. So let me have a go here. I'm going to put in here, I'm looking for a prompt that I can grab pieces from.
Because we worked on this a little earlier. Yes. So again, we're at the place where you're doing all of your creation and all of your research for you to be a prepared and credible and valuable to your audience communicator. This is where AI can help you, but it's not going to do the speaking for you. It has to be coming from this engine too.
Yeah. So we're going to say here, please deliver. Then we'll add a headline of no more than 10 words.
Let's see, Shelby, let's show all of Dave so we can see what he's writing.
See a headline for each slide, along with a short, or along with bullet points of the content.
Great.
Points of, and that wouldn't be bullet points to put on screen. Never put bullet points on screen. No. A bullet points of speaking notes.
Because you're still designing your content, and then you'll go to the next.
Yeah.
So you've given it some parameters. Love it.
So here we go. So it's saying, right, the title of this presentation is AI without training, your firm's biggest professional risk. Ooh.
I love it.
So slide 1, the wake-up call. Reference the lawyer's ChatGPT case citation disaster. And all lawyers know about this. Build tension with real consequences, fines, reputation damage. Frame as preventable with proper training. So that's a good classic way of communicating. Problem, solution. And I am the solution. I am offering the solution. So it makes complete sense. Slide 2, you're already using AI, whether you know it or not. And this is a fact. People are using AI even when they're told not to.
Yeah.
And they're using it against guidelines. So
Yes.
whatever you do, people are using AI and they're using it wrong.
Yeah. Yes.
So show statistics of unofficial AI use in law firms. Highlight the shadow risks. Slide 3, the 3 AI risks you can't ignore. Client confidentiality breaches, professional negligence, reputational damage. These are brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So as we go through this is
the cost. So it's giving you an outline based on slides. I would, if I were coaching the speaker, I would want them to take one step back and write the narrative. Or maybe there could be a story, or maybe you start with imagine. You get a call from a client and this is the case. So give it a little bit more urgency. But this has to be blended with good transitions and a good storyline, as we say here, with a good call to action. I want to make sure our friend made a clarification on the hallucination piece here. Wishwanath said the point where AI is providing hallucinated citations in some cases, can we automate AI to self-check its output for authentication and legal issues for publishing? So when you go to Perplexity, is that, yeah.
I mean, to an extent, but to me, this is a whiff of human laziness. Do not think that AI can replace human grunt work. It's still really important. And yes, there are things that we could do that would be able to check to an extent. Yes, we can do that, but do not think that that's you covered. It's up to humans. Because you can't do stuff and say, well, I got AI to check it, and then there was technology to check that. Are people going to say, oh, you're all right then? No, they're not.
Yeah.
You still get the court cases. You're still legally culpable. And you, as the human who was driving this thing, are the one who is responsible. So do not think that you can outsource the grunt work completely to AI. I get a lot of people basically trying to say, how can I get the AI to do this without me having to do anything? And it's just like, you don't. Why would you do that? You've made yourself irrelevant.
You know, I'm preparing for a final examination in my course next week, and it's several pages, several questions. It'd be the same of me running it through a dictation check, a spell check, and not putting my eyeballs on the paper. I've read it 3 times, and I can tell you I've missed something. The spell check is done. It finds it perfect. There's things still that it doesn't check. It's the same thing. If we are lazy and we use it to replace the grunt work, it's not going to be as effective. So we're running a little bit out of time. Why not use, let me see here. Carlo, I think we're going to come back to your question, and Dave can answer it on the platform. We've done the outline. Can we use AI to design some basic slides?
There are some tools that do that. I would never use any of them.
Okay. I don't as well. I wanted to make sure we're on the same page. You can decide what you want to say on the slides. You can have it go fetch images, but you want the images to be realistic. AI created images clearly, as long as you want to create something and say this is AI created. Otherwise, I would not want to specifically use something because it doesn't look realistic.
AI images have a look to them, and even the ones that initially look, oh, that's really realistic, you start to get a feel for something that's not quite right.
It's not quite right.
What we call the uncanny valley thing.
Yeah.
So I don't tend to use very many AI generated images, particularly in presentations. And in fact, in a lot of my presentations, I just use headlines. I don't use images because I don't want my presentation ever to be overshadowing me. So if there's something that's an image that people lose themselves looking at, they've stopped listening to me. If there's more text on there than you would get in the old-fashioned tweets when it was only 140 characters, if there's more than like 12 words on there, again, you've lost people. They're reading, they're not listening. And I don't ever want my presentation to overshadow what I am presenting. I need people's attention.
And you have presenters that are very enthusiastic and definitely are communicating, and they sit off to the side and they're showing all of these words on a screen, and eyeballs will be attracted to that. So we want to make sure that you shine as the super communicators you are. I wanted to leave the last few minutes we had to prepare yourself as a presenter and a speaker, whether you are on the phone, whether you are at the end of a presentation, to practice some of the questions you should be prepared for. So say, I think we prepared for this, Dave. You can even put in the prompt, if this is the topic that I am sharing, didn't we say, what are the hesitations of the audience? What might they be? And then you may ask it to create those in a question format. So at least you can prepare. I would even go a step further. If there's an additional research study, if there's a piece that you want to share in the question and answer period, or if you get interrupted, you have a slide that refers to that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was something in the first prompt we went in that was about potential objections.
Yes.
I think that's so important to prepare yourself for that.
Yes.
And yeah, I like to preempt any objections. It's just I've been caught out. I learned from losing I think it was a £5 million pitch when I was working at an advertising agency.
Wow.
And the client came back with a question that when they asked me the question, I was the creative director, when they asked me the question, I went blank because I hadn't prepared for it. I didn't have the answer. I didn't know. And I just paused and ended up handing over to one of my colleagues who bumbled it as well, and we lost the pitch.
Yes.
And I know that if I had prepared.
Yeah. We see it. Do you watch Lion's Den, or in the US, Shark Tank? I watch that show. I'm such an addict because it's the same. They prepare for the presentations and they haven't thought through the questions. So the investors will pepper them with questions, and that's where they can showcase if they have true knowledge or experience, or they have the gusto to deliver what it is that they promise. As you said, I'm sorry that happened, but it sounds like you paid tuition and you won't do that again, right?
That was a £5,000 lesson, and I've since then.
Right. Well, Dave, let's be festive and run our raffle for Stronger, the tumbler. What's your next course that you are pushing out on LinkedIn, and maybe on this link that we can add some of your courses? Let me get back to you on that. That's right, Minal. Let me get back to you on that. So we have put all of your names who have put #Stronger on the feed into a program. We're going to press the raffle in just a little bit. Dave, think about your next 2 courses you want us to take. Is it working?
Yeah. Well,
she's going to push draw in just a second. Right. Yes. You have all of your courses listed.
Look at this.
Nice. Yes. Look at this. I get to mail these with a little note. I love doing that. Ooh, yay! My friend from California, Filipos, sin jaritiria. Yay! Wonderful. Great. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us. This is going to stay as a recording on the LinkedIn platform. If we didn't get to your question, we will go ahead and answer that. Dave, one more time, a huge big thank you for your energy, for your knowledge, for your amazing curiosity that helps us be better in using AI and more.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank everyone for listening. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.